All right, happy Monday. The 49ers Report is presented by Roan. They are redefining and reinventing the men's dress shirt with comfortable, breathable, stretchable fabric, just like the commuter shirt that I'm wearing right now, and it's an absolute game changer for my wardrobe. 20% off if you use the code CHAT at roan.com/chat. We'll tell you more about them coming up around the corner. So, it's early on a Monday, and the storyline surrounding the San Francisco 49ers just got a lot juicier. Could San Francisco sign Baker Mayfield? He is officially been released by the Carolina Panthers. Now what happens? He hits waivers, and the Niners, if Baker Mayfield falls to them on that waiver list, could sign with San Francisco to either be a future starter after this Jimmy Garoppolo injury, back up Brock Purdy, a lot to unpack. But first, if you enjoyed that fish fry yesterday, a dominant statement of a victory for the San Francisco 49ers as they blasted the Miami Dolphins at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. More than 60,000 people joined our watch party. It was the game of the week, and when the lights were the brightest, San Francisco rose up to the occasion, proved to everybody, now outside of that big quarterback question, they should be taken seriously as Super Bowl contenders. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Back to Baker here. So this just in, there were rumors, speculation that the Panthers were going to release him. They officially have. He will hit waivers on Tuesday. And now the big question for Baker Mayfield, for the Niners, will another team claim him before San Francisco on the waiver claim list? Now, the 49ers are 24th on the waiver claim list. And when you have this conversation, you have to look at the teams in front of San Francisco and ask yourself, okay, do they have a quarterback question? Do they have a quarterback need? Could they sign Baker Mayfield before he falls to the Niners? There's also this. I think that Mayfield, who according to reports was asking for his release, could pull a power play. Houston Texans, you want me? I'm not going there. Myself and my agent feel as though it's best for my career that I go to San Francisco. Player empowerment and player power in general, certainly important here. And Baker Mayfield is in a rough spot in his NFL career. He needs to be rehabilitated in a bad way, and maybe the Niners give him the best opportunity to do that. So you look at the waiver list here, the teams ahead of San Francisco: Houston, Chicago, Denver, Rams, Panthers, Jaguars, Saints, Cardinals, Colts, Falcons, Packers, Raiders, Cleveland, Steelers, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Chargers, New England, Washington, Seattle, Tennessee, Jets, Giants, and then the Niners. Some of those teams could have quarterback needs, but perhaps no team has more of a quarterback need with a roster that's ready to win a Super Bowl right now, and they might have to do it on the shoulders of Brock Purdy than the Niners. So with that, let me ask you this. I know a lot of people are going to embrace debate. You're going to be heated up about this subject matter. I actually think that Brock Purdy is the better option as compared to Baker, and I'll explain why coming up. But do you want the Niners to sign him? Former number one pick, S for sign, P for pass. Let us know in the comments section. You take a look at what Baker Mayfield has done from 2018 to 2021. Then we'll take a look at his numbers separately with the Carolina Panthers. So you have to give him credit for being the first overall pick. He was selected there, and he should not have been. That was an over-evaluation by John Dorsey at the time, the general manager for the Browns. I thought he was a first-round pick, not number one overall. And did he bring the Browns out of the depths of the NFL and help them win a playoff game in 2020 for the first time since the early 1990s when Bill Belichick was their coach by playing pretty solid football? Yes. Completed 63% of his passes. That is low because he's supposed to be very accurate and was coming out of Oklahoma. 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. The season before that, 2019, and before that, 2018, you can see, yeah, he threw some touchdowns, but a lot of interceptions, a lot of bad reads, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of inaccuracy issues, and last year it was just bad all around in 2021 as the situation in Cleveland was poor, his play was awful, he was injured, 17 touchdowns, 13 picks, a lot of drama, and struggled to complete more than 60% of his passes. Then in 2022, this year, the Panthers bring him in as part of that wild quarterback movement across the NFL, and once again, he really struggled. And the numbers even worse than they were in Cleveland in its lowest moments. 1-5 record for a bad Panthers team with Matt Rule. They got off to a disastrous start. That's why they fired him. Then he went to Nebraska, still getting the bag. Completed 58% of his passes, not ideal. 1,300 yards. He couldn't get on the same page as some of his wide receivers. 6 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, and it just was brutal at the end of the day. And a couple of things can be true with Baker Mayfield, right? And let's take a look at it. The situation in Charlotte was not good. It was a bad situation with the Panthers. The situation in Cleveland certainly got rocky. Now, I like Kevin Stefanski as a coach. I like Andrew Berry as a general manager. That roster around Baker Mayfield was good. But here is my issue with Baker Mayfield. Dude never takes accountability. And the dude has this mentality of it's me against the world. And when is Baker Mayfield going to accept his own failures and his own flaws for his downfall as well as his struggles? At that quarterback spot, you're the face of the franchise. You're looked at across the locker room as one of the leaders of that organization. You have to take accountability even when things don't fall on your shoulders because you're the quarterback. And Baker Mayfield, let's be real, did not play solid, good football with the Browns and the Panthers through much of those 2 stints. And that is because of his mentality of me against the world and him acting as though I'm going to go after the media if they criticize me, when sometimes you just have to take the L and move on as compared to sticking up for yourself. You have to be accountable when you're one of the leaders of that organization, and that's why the coaching staffs have fallen out of favor with him. That's why a lot of the players on the roster don't mess with Baker Mayfield, because of those downfalls for Baker Mayfield, the personality traits that he has. Now, as I mentioned off the top of the show, 20% off your order of the most comfortable, breathable, stretchable fabric dress shirt out there. Now, I used to work in local news, and I had some of these dress shirts that would get wrinkled. Roan does not. I had some of these dress shirts that just didn't fit well. Roan does. You see how they're slim around the waist, tight in the chest, nice around the arm as well. But the comfort of the Roan dress shirt, absolutely fantastic. And if you're shopping for yourself or somebody else during this holiday season, Roan really is where it's at. The dress shirt was due for a radical reinvention. Roan stepped up to the challenge. Roan's commuter shirt, the most comfortable, breathable, flexible shirt known to man, and here's why. Mobility is everything. Their comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work or 18 holes on the golf course, and I like to do both. Odor-free technology as well, with anti-odor technology, where you'll be just smelling great, smelling clean, looking good, feeling good during this holiday season. 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether, which will help you save on your budget. We're going to put this link in the comment section and the description of this video. It's roan.com/chat, 20% off your order. And on top of these dress shirts, a bunch of other great products as well. Link available in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. So next up on the show, we talk about Baker Mayfield here, right? Let's dissect Brock Purdy's performance and pose this question, because a lot of people are worried here. Are the 49ers Super Bowl chances cooked now after this injury to Jimmy Garoppolo as well as Trey Lance? And you know what's crazy too? This number, Kyle Shanahan took over as the head coach of the Niners back in 2017. 50% of his seasons, his quarterback has been lost for the year. And now it's time for the Brock Purdy show. Can Brock Purdy lift this team to a deep playoff run and help the Niners win a Super Bowl championship? I was actually fairly impressed with what Brock Purdy did in relief yesterday, and I thought it was pretty telling how Kyle Shanahan called 37 pass plays for Brock Purdy. This is a guy who was Mr. Irrelevant, final pick in the NFL draft, did some good things at Iowa State throughout his college career, but a limited quarterback who made a lot of bad mistakes, but in a huge game and a statement game for both the Niners and the Miami Dolphins, Brock Purdy played really well. 25 of 37, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and completed 67.5% of his passes. The 1 interception came down on that 4th down play when Brock Purdy let it go downfield to Brandon Ayuk. He left the ball inside as compared to high and outside, not giving Ayuk the only opportunity alongside that deep back to bring down the football, but that was basically a punt. So I was okay with that decision to at least let it fly downfield and take a chance on 4th down when you probably couldn't have kicked a field goal there. Here's the truth about Brock Purdy as well. A lot of people were impressed with what Brock was able to do on Sunday against Miami. I was too. He's a gamer. He's tough as nails. He's willing to hang in the pocket and take hits to deliver the football. He's willing to take chances over the middle of the football in some really tight windows, as evidenced by some of the completions and some of the attempts that he at least let loose against Miami on Sunday. And I like the bravery to his game. He has solid mobility, but is a tad slight in terms of his overall bulk, but also his height. Sometimes he could struggle to see over the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have a bazooka for an arm, but it's solid. And what the Niners are going to have to do with Purdy under center, and I believe it's the best thing for them moving forward to just go with him as compared to Baker Mayfield, because frankly, I think he's the better player, and frankly, I think his mental is in a better spot as compared to Mayfield, who's completely damaged right now in terms of his confidence. But Kyle Shanahan and this Niners team rely on the run game, rely on the defense, and all Brock Purdy has to do is play point guard, distribute the football in some critical spots. I think where the Niners will miss Jimmy G is on some of these third down situations in which he really, really flourishes and thrives because he is clutch in some of those moments. Brock Purdy can win you games because of the fact that this roster is one of the most talented in the NFL on both sides of the football, and they have a really good head coach in Kyle Shanahan who's developed Jimmy G, who's had C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins produce solid performances at the NFL level. And the looming question lies here, can the Niners still win the Super Bowl? It's going to be difficult, and it's going to be an uphill battle not having Jimmy Garoppolo because of his experience. But let's be real, in terms of pure quarterback evaluation, pure quarterback talents, there isn't a massive gap between Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. Honestly, I think Purdy might be a less limited Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's kind of been my pro comp over the last couple of years. The guide to being a Super Bowl team in the NFL, you have to have a really good quarterback. So you can't really check that box off right now for San Francisco. But the Niners do have an offensive line that can run and pass protect with good players across that offensive line. You have to have a defensive line that can cause mayhem against opposing quarterbacks. What is the guide to stopping a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen? It's generating a pass rush. Nick Bosa is having an all-pro defensive player of the year type of season. The addition of Eric Armstead reaped immediate benefits, and everybody else across that defensive line, led by the great defensive line coach Chris Kocurek, is also a very good player. And what have we seen the last two Super Bowls? Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes have lost in the biggest game in the Super Bowl because they had no time to drop back, dissect the defense, and pick them apart because they were constantly under pressure. And then you look at the other levels of this Niners defense outside of the defensive line. The secondary with Charvarius Mooney-Ward is playing really well right now. They have the best and most well-rounded linebacking core in the NFL with Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and Azeez Al-Shire. Now that Jimmy Ward is playing slot nickel cornerback, he comes through with an interception yesterday of Tua Tagovailoa, and he adds to the defensive back spot. And then on that back end, Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson are playing really well. And the 49ers, lastly, have a very good coach. If Kyle Shanahan wasn't a good coach, Brock Purdy wouldn't be thrust into that role yesterday, throw 37 times, and find the success that he did without the guidance and the coaching of Kyle Shanahan, and the fact that the stability within this organization is as strong as it's been since they were winning Super Bowls with Joe Montana and then that Super Bowl with Steve Young. So the big question here, can the Niners still win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Garoppolo? Chime in. Let me know. How are you feeling today? Why for yes and for no? And if the 49ers do make a signing, you know we're going to cover it right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. So a reminder to subscribe today.